Yo, what's up? I got my mic on this time. What's up, Ricker, Hang Bro, Vega? How's it going? Gameplay streams? I think we already did one. I mean, we could do one again in the future, but maybe do one where we start from a different zone. Last time I played until we played up until zone 3. So maybe if you guys want, we could play again tomorrow and start from zone 3 and see the rest of the game. Good evening, Vega. So yesterday you guys suggested Akumi Witch, the green cat. This is the result. I worked on after the stream. Came out pretty good. There's some things that I want to fix. I keep seeing problems with this foot perspective. That's better. So I had some ideas to do some animation roughs at the end of the stream, or near the end of the stream. You guys can help me with, because I think I'm finding a flow with the animations that I want to take it to the next level. So like this is sort of what I used to do before I would make an animation. I'd make these keyframes, not keyframes, but these little drawings of actions. And if I could see an animation, it would help me see an animation play out in my head. And then all I had to do was go try to animate it. So here's like Meltonius on top of a robot pulling off his head, pushing a giant demon's head here, and some other random monster designs. But I had an idea to do a sort of spin-off of Void sort of warriors against like Dage like undead enemies. Yesterday started off terrible. I was completely distracted by trying to get the gameplay on my Android Play on my stream. But no more of that. Not until the game officially releases, which will be this year. But yeah, I had an idea to do an animation, a fight animation between a void and an undead, but like sort of with a sci-fi twist. So they're kind of like cyborgish. So they kind of like spawn weapons. I mean, I guess you could do that with just normal magic, but I like the idea of being kind of this being set to kind of not futuristic, but like sci-fantasy. Not fully sci-fi, not fully fantasy. So that was inspiring me to do some animations. I got some animation, some rough animations of that. We can take a look at after this. You can see where I'm where I'm headed. Start off with some good old fight animations before I think about going any further stories or anything like that. Today is a good day. Yes, indeed. Good evening, Fool Killer. I had some animation ideas, like forward or pan up shot, either with Meltonius or that Tim Burton role. Of the girl sitting in the chair. If I can do that in Procreate. Let's see if this is easy as it seems like it should be. I'm gonna give it a go. Hannah animation. I wonder if we can yeah, can do it, but Procreate is like super janky. Yeah, we don't really have a camera, so it'd be kind of like you know what? Procreate doesn't Procreate doesn't work like Photoshop either. Once you put something out of the camera or out of view, it gets cropped. It's out of control. Let's see if we can do a really fast animation here. The frame rate is this frame. Zoom on his face. Son of a bitch. I just realized I did it. I did it again. I don't have the right screen up. There should be like an alert you guys can send me when I forget this shit. Let's see. Bone versus stage. Yeah, something kind of like a I was thinking of doing a continuation of Melts and or Nogat versus stage, but Miltonius versus stage World 2. Cyborg Fiend, Cyborg Undead, something like that, yeah. Miltonius would be non-canon, but chain up from his waist and his down for a second before rising up to show off his red glowing eyes for a dramatic shot. That'd be cool. Simply working girl or sleeping in her chair, awakening. Either green, purple, glow eyes. What's up, Betrude? Voidettes. Voidettas. Guess it's in Melbourne. What's going on? So this was the witch that you guys suggested yesterday with Queen Cat. I had no idea my screen wasn't on. Strike one for tonight. The other thing I was doing, you guys could see, I was working on these little keyframes that would make ideas for animation. So here I have Antonius pulling the head off of something, some kind of a robot. Some manstas with that salamander head look that I'm liking so much. I want to do a couple more of those. I want to hone in. My new art style will be big eyebrows and salamander mouth. I actually saw a little lizard on my window this morning. Just climbed up right as I went to the kitchen sink window. That just made me laugh. It was pretty cute. Just crawling along the window ledge, looking inside. What are you doing? What are you doing? Yeah, when I draw drawings like this, and it makes me imagine an animation. That's how I used to do all my animations. All the Akumi animations. Like it all started with just one drawing, and then if that drawing sparks an animation idea, I would run with it. But they all started like this, just drawing keyframe, or drawing one drawing. If it made me think of an animation, if it made me imagine it moving, I would go animate that. And then later I would put together a story with that. There was no story laid out before I would make my animations. I would put the story together after. So So I was completely backwards in terms of production, but that's what worked for me. It was completely inspiration driven. So what did I want to animate? Okay, I'm going to animate that. How does it relate to anything? There is no relation. I just want to animate that. Then later, I would make it relate to something story-wise. What you've been making for Akumi? Oh, I still need to do the Akumi promo animation too. He looks so dumb, young and naked. He's not naked. He's got armor on, like a form-fitting armor. I guess you call it like a similar to the armors that they wear in Dune. Let's make sure is savage and real monster when fighting his enemies. Extreme brutal violence and ripping it in his head. That's what the animation where he fights the robots he originally does before I gave him a spear. I had him actually doing this. I had him pulling off the heads, which actually looked really cool, but once I gave him a weapon, it didn't make sense for him to use his bare hands. I really do hope we get some backstory work with Antonius, like himself harnessing his new powers and strength. Now he beat many folks, including wars like Racha and others. Leatherhead. Yeah, we'll get there. Slowly but surely, we'll get some story and more incorporated into my animations. But right now, I'm building my ball of energy, my Kame Dragon Ball energy is getting formed right now. We got to do a couple more sketches and then we'll go right into the animation. See, I don't really have any plans for when I draw these little keyframes for animations. Just think of cool drawings or cool poses. That's really all I did for the longest time. I would make a cool pose or a cool drawing, and then if it inspired me to want to see that move, that would be the inspiration for the animation. Hey, is that Sophie? Hey, thanks, man. But let's see what I added a ninja girl here. Forgot to preview what we did last time. Like this is an animation. This is an animation. This is an animation. This is an animation, even though she's just sitting there. These are pinups. That's obviously an animation. those robots milk fights, very different but similar, with but still distinct from the soulless. And another thing, they have more versatility in their weapon, such as the turning and claw hands and saws. Yeah, they're a little more detailed than Akumi Wars, but they're basically the same thing. I actually use the same art for the animations to make them in the game. What's up, Noxus? Ooh, can we see the Wasteland, Jade, or even Lord Akumi in battle or damage arm? That's a good idea. Oh, I actually want to do you brought up the old Jade jumping down or scaling down the wall. I actually want to explore that again. How does that look? I mean, that animation was already really well done. I don't know how much I can improve it other than using her more recent design. Doing a more cartoony design. Messed up my playlist. Just getting used to the song order. Now it throws me off. It's not in the right order. But yeah, this is another. I draw a sketch like this, I can already see it animated. And then it inspires me to go make this animation. So that's my process. I'm remembering how I would make animations. It always started with one drawing that inspired me to go make the animation. It's never planned out like, oh, I need to make this character doing such and such, doing this and doing that. Later, I would do that way. And if you notice, a lot of the animations down the line after the original Akumis became less and less. I don't want to say they were worse, but I would say they're less inspired. Because I was no longer animating for the inspiration of it. I was animating to try to tell a story, I guess, but in a way that was uninspired. I was forcing it, I guess. It's a good way to put it. I was forcing my animations instead of finding the inspiration. I was forcing it. I was just like, I just need to get it done. Question: why don't they have an armor of alpha like in ATW? Is the scale of that not fitted to the player scale like Constantine? It was probably the scaling, yeah. It would probably look weird. I mean, it could probably work. You would just, like, for instance, the Void Fiend, right? Is kind of has similar proportions, but his arms would be really short. So you elongate the legs with the arms. If you think of the way the werewolves, how long werewolves' arms are, it would look really weird if his arms were really short, and that's what would happen if you put it on the model. Question: why don't they have? Oh, you have a thank you, Shades. Then in the animations, versus Akumi Wars, they look so different, distinct. Like they're different model of the Solus and more advanced. Yeah, I just took the same model and updated it. I took the same model from the animation, just detailed them more. Either her current design or maybe fusion sourced with her arms. Looks like Impossible intro. Actually, the piloted neck and Akumi vs. Grubby also share similarities but distinct design. Piloted neck. Yeah, I tend to draw robots with similar designs. Oh yeah, I did call them Reapers back then. Yeah, those animations are from a time long ago. We're going to bring it back. Still trying to decide how I want to, what kind of design I want to go with. I think I'm gonna stick with the limited color palette to begin with, at least, so I'm not bogged down by trying to make color animations. I just want to focus on the animation and not all the other stuff for a while. That will probably lead to me wanting to make more fully produced animations. But we're going to start off simple. Got like a planet in the background. Or you know what? Check this out. She's on the chest of a giant Pokemon. See how different I draw when I'm not drawing a pinup? Trying to draw for animation, everything becomes way more alive. The universe is having me remember. I'm remembering what I used to do. These streams have helped me do that. I think even though I don't draw all of your ideas, it gets me out of my own what do they call it? Vacuum chamber. Like I'm getting outside perspectives other than my own, which lets my imagination expand. Vacuum chamber. Wrong layer. Again. Thing built back then is inspired making animation for himself, but not for money. Yeah, there was no money. There was zero money thought in my head when I made those animations back then. I just wanted to make, the goal was just to make some cool shit. That was literally my literal goal, because I spoke it out loud when I was making animations like Soybean, was I want to knock people's socks off. Like, I just want to make such cool animation. People are like, holy shit, that was cool. That's the mentality I have to have. If I don't have that mentality, the work I'm doing is probably not inspired. Got to flip it. Yeah, it still works nice. Fix my cam. Slumping in my chair. Gotta adjust. Just for my slump. My chair slump. I think in the future we could see Grubby's mech and the Reapers make their way into Akumi Wars. Yeah, I do want to bring Grubby into Akumi Wars. Threat of massive mechs. That's a good idea. Yeah, have a mech enemy group. I like that idea. Sonic Adventure. It's like putting in motion, but static. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's like I'm making still drawings. It's still just one image, but it feels like the image is moving, and that's what inspires the animation. Yeah, it's really coming back to me. Like literally coming back to me as I'm drawing right now. Like, this is how I made animations back then. It always started off with a cool drawing, with a cool dynamic drawing. Or even a cool drawing of a character. Like if I made a new character, and I could imagine that character moving, that would inspire the animation. Like Miltonius was basically that. I had no story for Miltonius whatsoever. I just made the character. And then the Reaper, or the Miltonius versus the Reaper was happened. I put that into episode 3. That wasn't part of the story. I just made it part of the story. It became part of the story. So basically, I like to make shit up as I go. I have no plan. I have no script. The fun part is not known. The fun part is the surprise. That's why when a lot of people ask me about the lore, I don't know. I think explaining everything takes some of the magic out. Takes away the magic. So I don't like to try to explain it. Sometimes I make up shit on the spot, and then that becomes canon because I'm like, oh, you know what? It means this, or oh, you know what? I think it could be because of this. And in reality, I never thought of it that way. I just thought of it in the moment, and now it's part of it. It's part of it. I've never been a big backstory guy. My backstory is done through the arts. What do you see? Sort of a thing. Technology seems very prevalent and abundant in Hex realms, including versus sometimes combining the old ways together too with old ways of magic. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I like the idea of there being ancient things we don't know anything about. Like it's complete mystery, just like on Earth. There's so many things we have no clue about. Yeah, it has magic and technology. Both are powerful. Yeah, Warhammer, mechs, and magic. I would love that. I've always loved Warhammer. Man, you really would make the scene just adding the big guy looking great as well. Thank you, Vega. Yeah, it just popped in my head. I was like, oh, what if this big robot? This is how I float. Just on the fly making shit. I realized I made a lot of typos in my past missions. And for me, my big fingers. Simple but not complex. Yep. If I I do think the Reaper's design is a tad more intimidating as well as the robotic voice that they're combined with how they can interchange their hands, other weapons, and fly. Yeah, I can see that. They're much darker. They're a lot more. They're a lot more menacing for sure. I lightened up a lot of their design in Akumi Wars just to give them more details. But I do like the more simple designs. Like that's why a lot of my characters always have black silhouette. I love the black silhouette because again, the black silhouette makes the mind, it makes the imagination work. Because now you need to imagine. Now you're automatically imagining parts that you can't see. Like, we don't exactly know what this giant robot looks like because he's all in black silhouette. But you see just enough detail to get an idea of what he could look like. Yeah, the spine necks and the skull heads. I'm bringing that. I really do like that design. I always like making giant or long dinosaur necks. Yeah, they're kind of missing that in the Akumi Wars version. Now they're less skeletal and they're just big hulking robots instead. That's the way, Bill. Yeah, I'm remembering my way of the past. It feels good. The best part of drawing is just going with the flow. Yep, organic. Same with lore. Also, fan speculation is part of the fun. Magic too, letting the community theorize. Yeah, I always like to see what people think about what I make, and sometimes I let it influence what it actually is. Wasn't Punky just Akumi with her hair tied up, but then you made her into her own character? Exactly, Vega. Punky Bruiser was Akumi. Was a version of Akumi that was in Akumi Wars. I thought, oh, let me redesign Akumi again, and I made her more grounded looking, more like a mercenary, and like with the flat jacket and the shorts, and just a rifle. But then I was like, then I went back on that. I was like, I need to bring back Akumi's traditional design. And so instead of scrapping that Akumi design, I made her into Punky Bruiser. So yeah, Punky Bruiser was Akumi, and that was part of her lore. I think it's still in her overview. Like she's, or I might have taken it out. I don't know. Yeah, I think I took it out. But at one point I put in there that she's the alternate version of Akumi from a different universe. But that doesn't work with doesn't quite work with Punky being her own character. What we know about I think we know more about space than we know about everything in the ocean. And Cthulhu is there. Hey, what's up, Colin? Oh, I had a lizard man. I totally forgot about that. Lizard man arts. Pretty brand new to the drawing thing. Just recently made a present pose, then drew my art over that. And now it looks way better. So, got any tips? Nah, that's pretty much. That's a pretty good method. That's what I do that sometimes, but now I've kind of embraced the sketchiness of my lines, and so at least in Procreate, I just refine my sketchy lines. But sometimes I'll do that. If I make a sketch that's way too rough, I'll just fade it out, like you're talking about, and then just draw back over it with really clean lines. So yeah, I use that method too. It's very common. It's a good method. Nothing wrong with it. All right. So here's our reimagined inspiration for jade scaling down, not a wall, giant rock. Another idea? Any ideas for pose animation? I love and hate our ocean because of that alone. I mean, think about it. It's a tad horrifying and scary. The ocean is indeed its own universe. I got an idea. There's so many ideas today. It's endless. But I've yet to animate just like a hovering. It's obviously something that's based on conflict and randomness. It's my favorite. I really want to get back into stylized body shapes. Like like not too far. Like in between I don't remember if you guys remember the Star Wars animations, 2D animations. I forget the director's name, but he did Samurai Jack and all that. Like that's a little too far in the design realm. I want to go in between that and just like anime proportions, which is normally what I'm saying. I want to keep that cartoon look. I don't want to mix it up. So really exaggerated proportions. Tiny legs, big feet, big hands, big head. Not too big. Just right. Instead of 8 heads tall, which is normal proportion, probably 5 to 6. 1, 2, 3. No, more like 4 heads tall, like half of them. Yeah, it looks like a Makai. Makai. We can do Makais. Like forming into a big boy Makai. We can do a big boy Makai. By the way, Mel, did you think of lore? What do you think of the lore I make bone crab as a species creature in the cooking wars? I'm not the best writer in the book. Like, I thought it was really good. Good work. Weren't Makai just twisted evil versions of Mothman? They look like Mochlins, but my inspiration for the Makai actually came from slaying the horned god. Actually, I can show you. I have the book right here. You want to see where I got the idea for Makai? Here's a graphic novel you gotta read, Slaying the Horned God. But they got near the climax of the war in here. The witch summons a bunch of little demons. Little shadow creatures, teeth. Here they are. It's hard to see them. Put her in the black and white, sticking their hands to people's eyes. Those were my inspirations for Makai, my versions of Makai. That was long before ATW. Yeah, Gendy Tarkovsky, that's the guy. Yeah, he made Samurai Jack and those Star Wars animations. Speaking of which, he's doing a new animation called Black Knight. That sounds cool. I need to check that out. I never saw the his dinosaur animation or the caveman guy. I need to watch that too. I have to give it a look and read sometimes. Love the cover art and how stylized and ornate it looks. Yeah, it's actually based off Celtic mythology, so all of it is like from real life mythical stories. Uh, so really cool. Druids, berserkers. I love the idea of the warriors harnessing the power of the earth through their body, turning them into these, making their bodies warp into these like monstrous killing machines. So when Slain goes into a warp spasm, he just like starts the body starts twisting and turning inside out and just destroying everything in its path. That's a cool idea too. That's an idea to animate. I did some big Makai, some of my pinups, but didn't really show any detail. Let's see if I can do something with a little more detail. What would a hulking Makai look like? Yeah, the Makai that I made with Demon Kiss was little versions of herself. Like they spawned with her hairstyle. I thought that was funny. You have these little piranha teeth demons, with goofy little hairstyle. You know, they kind of reminds me of evil Totoro. You imagine a Totoro that was evil, like that, how gigantic that thing was. Just a giant mouth. Powerful too. I need to watch all the Ghibli films again. Ghibli films are full of magic. Like legit feel magic. All of them, without fail, have that feeling of magic. There's our musical cue. It's gonna come out. Yep. So that's where the Berserkers and Warlords came from. Yep. Basically, anything I've ever made is inspired by something that I've seen or was inspired by. You know what the voids were made or inspired by. Someone mentioned it on my streams before. Tell me, does anyone know what the voids that I put into AQW, who they basically were? It's pretty easy if you think about it. This is more of a pinup idea, but if you recall that girl you drew from a few years back who was texting on her phone being surprised by a hockey mask killer. I hope for a part 2 of them being friends. I do remember a really cartoony drawing. Yeah, that one was fun. Might be able to do something with that. And having like a slumber party for silly. Yeah, DM me the picture. That'd be a good reminder. What's up, Sweepo? Lord Miltonius, do your best in 2026 birthday, please. Sure. If I'm working on anything. Oh yeah, they are like that. They kind of like take on the form of whoever they come in contact with. I love running glass much. I only wanted the barbarian version to come to the game, but who knows what Mo will do this year. I like the sword most from that art. You made Meltonius the Conqueror. Oh right, I forgot about Meltonius. I made a barbarian version. Yeah, that's a good idea actually. If I do another armor for my birthday, I'll use those. I'll use those assets. They usually give me well, not usually, not always. Sometimes they give me a theme to work on, but they usually give me the freedom to do what I want. So, yeah, I got those assets. Why not reuse or repurpose them? That would be the smart thing to do. doesn't inspire me to draw. Oh my god. How long has it been off? Jesus Christ. Dude, how long have I been drawing with it showing my desktop? That is so ridiculous. Was I drawing? Was I drawing showing the desktop the entire time? I have no idea. How the hell does that happen? Did I accidentally press a I have my freaking keyboard in my hand. I probably pressed the button on accident. Lord. I wish you guys had the ability to like ring a bell or something when I'm screwing up the stream. I get lost in the drawing once I get going. Whatever. Meant to be. You weren't meant to see me draw this. Actually, you can see it right now. I keep forgetting. This is what I was doing. Oh, it's showing all my drawings. Now I get to rest and watch some drawings for a second. That's the cool thing about reusing the canvas. It records everything you drew on each canvas before. I had to ask my uncle what the kanji on Tony's armor said. He just said it meant evil. Even so, it had little heart in it. It's too font. It's like reminds me of Trello. Yeah. Thank you, Vega. Alright. It's the great thing about Procreate. Just that recording of your process makes it really easy to make content. Big Makai can gobble a full-size human in one go. I wonder if they have. Some of the armor from Dread have kanji as well. That's pretty cool. That's really cool. Thank you, Vega. Got Fat Chocobo. I summoned Fat Maka Snorlax. Your evil Snorlax. Makai looks similar to something I won't name because certain game company are flies ready to suit. Everything looks like a Pokemon these days. I think next year, any money on he is a cool fellow. Question: how many armor sets does usually do or told you to make? Last year, I think 2. Yeah, I think 2 is kind of the general. Okay. Fuck. Keep putting the keyboard in my lap. I'm so used to working with my keyboard. Oh, you know the floating blades. Funny enough, as I'm drawing this blade, you know where the floating blades came from? It came from this book as well. Where is it? Freaking Celtic mythology has badass ideas. Where was it? So they came from this story. So in the story, there's a living spear that craves battle and has to be restrained, but it's looking to it looks to constantly devour people and drink their blood. And so when they release it, it just starts going through the battlefield and killing everything in its sight. And there was this one shot here, which looks so good. You can totally see it happening in real life. Oh, you know who else was inspired in here? Wow, there's so many things I got inspired by in this book. Let's see if I can find it. So during the climax, the war starts. Oh, here's a spear doing its thing. Right there. The spear ripping through the battlefield and just piercing. There's a better shot. Here's them going through a warp spasm. Right there. There's a spear going through somebody. Can't find one shot. There's one more character that was inspired from here. Oh yeah. Or that. I don't know if you guys remember that guy, but I put him into Dragon Fable. And guess what his name is? Valor. Shit, I was blocking the mic when I was putting the book up. Does his tongue stick out of the Makai? I don't think I've ever really drawn his Makai tongue. We can draw one here. More creepy. Yeah, it's a cursed spear. I love the idea of a living weapon. Cursed weapon and artifacts and weapons that are always interesting in stories. Yeah. Hey, Mel, have you ever seen the Absolute Batman? An Absolute Batman is really an awesome story. The art is just phenomenal. An Absolute Batman. No, I have to look that up. Just look up Absolute Bane. Oh, Absolute Bane, and you'll see what I mean. Okay, I'll check that out. Venom Makai. Batman with an axe and a killer croc that's totally unrecognizable. Let's see that. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I like these exaggerated proportions. That's my kind of drawing. Killer croc is insane. That's badass. Yeah, that's the type of shit I like. Alright, let's look into the animations now. We're almost at 2 hours. This is the problem with switching between monitors. So I did these silhouettes. No, yeah. trying to come up with some inspiration for a new possible continuation. This is what I made for the Void versus Undead. So I figure I'll put a bunch of work. I could put a bunch of work into detailing this, and then maybe viewers can give ideas of what could happen in this fight. Human version of Makai would look like a fiend. That's a cool idea. Yeah, thanks. I really love making characters just fly through the air and do different acrobatics. That's like the funnest thing for me to animate. So I did this today. I'm like, ooh, I think I could probably spend some time and refine this animation. Now, what they do after they do their standoff, I have no clue yet. But that's what's the fun part. That's the surprise, not knowing. But if you guys have ideas of what kind of fight they could have, can write in chat. Maybe you'll see it to life in an animation. So the reason I was thinking they could be more cybernetic. I mean, like, and still again, like magic works too. But for example, you could have that void guy. So just reuse. Gonna be some cool animation here. So you could just summon a weapon. So they could, so the possibilities of what kind of fights they have would be endless. So they can summon things, summon different weapons. That means they could have a fight with any kind of weapon you can think of. Now that is some fun possibilities. These are keyframes here. Maybe summons an energy sword. check this out. Animation stuff first. I fucking hate that. They force F1 to always open up the help menu so it's such an open software that Flash CS3, but it's so annoying that you can't change F1 to a different shortcut. What a stupid. One of the closest buttons that you can use over is set to something I never use. There you go. Super exaggerated. So we make that switch again. Definitely an intense stare off before throwing hands. Fist fight first, and then they summon the power of their patrons or gods. That's a cool idea, yeah. Start off with some good old martial arts, and then they start summoning weapons. And maybe after there they summon nanotech armors and weapons. There's plenty of weapons in the catalog, so to speak. The fiend will open a portal while the undead will summon from beneath. Give skew eyes around the fight. Arena is cool too. Ooh, that'd be nice. That'd be fun. Yeah, have skew in the background. Oh, even a few Easter egg weapons from other characters like Akumi, the Akumi blade or Kalana claws. Oh yeah, we could throw as many Easter eggs as we want in there. After summoning, maybe a fire on the weapon or on the fiend, while the undead will be lightning. Yeah, yeah, those are the two elements I like animating: fire and lightning. So these are just like ideas of keyframing. The order is obviously going to change depending on what happens. So I like the idea that they start off with. So what I could do to get like community involved in the animation, which would probably get the AQW community involved, is like have them start off with a fist fight where they're kind of evenly matched, and then have people vote on what kind of weapon they use or summon. Obviously, people are going to pick specific weapons from AQW, but it's going to have to be more the idea of inspired weapons and not. I don't want to draw a hyper detailed weapon. I don't want to animate a hyper detailed weapon. Fuck that shit. I mean, I could just put the graphic in there, but then it won't. It doesn't animate very well because you can't really animate a hyper detailed piece of art very well. We'll see. Sometimes involving community can cause a lot of roadblocks, actually. I do want to continue my Kylo versus Master Chief animation too. Once I have some momentum going on my animations, on my animation journey. Yeah, I could do a poll. Just to get an idea to have. That's what you do. You don't just pull out what, or you don't just go from those to those. You gotta make it dramatic. Everything's gotta be dramatic. Me comes in even closer. It's really badass how the ground shakes and smoke comes from it. Thank you. There's going to be a lot more effects than what's in here. Even though it looks like there's a camera, there's no camera movement in this yet. It's all just animation. So once I'm able to actually animate a dynamic camera with this movement, holy shit, it's a whole other. This is a mimicking of the camera move right here. This is just the background moving. But once I actually get the camera moving, it's going to be a lot of fun. Shiver was in here mentioning the mic, which has peaked a lot this sesh. What is it doing? What's the mic doing? Is it too loud? Yeah, we can say the void can regenerate, so they can lose this. But what's going on with my mic? Is it acting up? I can't really listen to that. Actually, maybe I can. I can listen to my. Oh, stream. See what might be happening. And then have people vote on what kind of weapon. Oh shit! It does sound like something like the way my old mic sounded. Do anything different other than unplug it and plug it back in. Testing, testing. It's going to be a lot of fun. Shiver was in here mentioning the mic, which has peaked a lot this sesh. What is it doing? What's the mic doing? Is it too loud? Man, I don't know what to do about this. I guess I gotta do some test stream to see if I can change the way the mic is. Yeah, we can say the void can regenerate, so they can lose things. Sounds like my old mic, where it sounds kind of like you're underwater a little bit. But what's going on with my mic? It's like here. Mentioning the mic, which has peaked a lot It's so weird. I don't know what to do about this. So when I hear in the stream the recording of my stream, it sounds clear, but when I hear it directly from me speaking, yeah, it sounds like I'm like underwater. I don't know what the fuck's happening. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to fix it next stream. So I don't know how to change what's happening right now. Trying to think of what I've done different, other than unplugging it and then putting in the Android. Why would that? I wouldn't change it. I don't know. Figure it out later. I wonder if I have two mics on. No, show on my stream. The OBS if I had two different mics turned on. Yeah, I'll figure it out next time, next stream. Just thinking another way to do my animations would be to do like these silhouettes. Just silhouette drawings with some coloring. Maybe but it'd be a lot easier to handle. Yeah, getting that sort of samurai jack sort of style going. Maybe add shrug animation, like the sprite animation, like the sprite animation. Shrug. Yeah, this Nolgath in full silhouette was a lot like Trigon. Trigon is red. But his design here has a lot of that cartoony design that I've seen Trigon in. I've only seen him in Teen Titans. watched the show, but I've seen screenshots. Let's see if I can animate him a little bit. A lot of my inspiration comes from just randomly animated characters too. Basically, finding lots of different ways to be inspired to animate. Let's see. Sense of fun. Let's see how much I can cheat this. So we have the keyframe here, ending the resting spot right here. How little can I animate this? Still make it good. Still make it pretty smooth. Let's see. Let's test. Test it with my new theory. As long as most of the frames are near the ending, near the resting phase, look good. Pretty good. Pretty good. God damn, how did I not? It just shows you're always learning. Like I animated like half my life, and I never exercised this way of animating because I was stuck believing that good animation only comes through a lot of frames, and that's just not true. It's not about how many frames you make; it's how good are your keyframes, how good is your pace or your spacing. I lost something there. Oh yeah, like a heavy breathing animation. I got you. Like an idle animation. Yep. puffs of smoke coming out the nose. Trigon is quite the beast, literally the only person in canon who can completely defeat him. That's Raven. Interesting. Him and Nolgath would not be friends now. Now that I think about it, rivals for sure, since they would rather conquer than work together. That's the downfall of a lot of evil, is that they cannot cooperate. They work through separation and not unity. Which is a good reason, good explanation as to why, in the end, evil fails. Because even if evil wins, it will never cooperate with anyone. Therefore, it doesn't really have allies. It feels like it needs to control everything. You don't have allies. It's trouble. Everyone wants you dead. He's trouble. But we could do a reading animation with using power flash. Joe. Base. Yeah, wow, the perfect event just that. But easy way to do it is just have the head or the body lift a little bit, like he's breathing. And strips. Had Panda Express for lunch today, and it's coming back to haunt me. would have been better if I did this within some, trying to do this fast and dirty. When will we see Ursula Mogath from the game? Ursula Mogath from the game? Oh, you mean the armored detailed one? No, I don't like drawing like that. It's too detailed. Oh, the oversoul. Yeah, yeah. You know what? I know what you mean now. You know what? I've told them a million times that the oversoul from, or the Nolgath by oversoul is the current version, and they just never switched it out. I don't know why. So yeah, I've brought it up to them multiple times. I've sent the files and said, "Here's the old version. Here's the new version. You should use the new version." They haven't switched it out. I don't know. We'd love to see Nolgath more, so much bigger, much menacing. Got the iconic skull bone. And his face is colored, has got the different color shades too, I think, right? Yeah, I think the one in AQW is just all green. What's up, Zaya? Definitely got here late. I'll stream a little bit longer, but I don't know how long I can last. I've got some bathroom duties calling me, but in summary, I'm going to be making a Void versus a Legion Undead fight animation. I was just getting some ideas of what that like, what could happen in that, and also did a Samurai Jack-ish sort of Nolgath here. Yeah, I don't know what's up. I don't try to control what happens in AQW. I just make my suggestions, and I let it be. But yeah, I've tried to get the Warsaw version of Nolgath into AQW times, but it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Oh yeah, yes. Look at the other animations too. Just adding pieces to this one. Peace. You know, when I sign off, I just play this animation. I ask Cammy. This is an older version. Older Nokia, or chippy Nokia. Of course, the Void's gonna win. How can we not make the Void? But I like the idea. Someone mentioned do Voids regenerate? We could make this ultra violent, like limbs flying, all that stuff, and they won't die. So it should be the oversoul Nokia there. We could put our own version of Nogath. So I was thinking of doing a continuation of Dage versus Nogath. So, but I guess they could be in this too somehow. Probably as an afterthought, have it like where Nogath's champion and Dage's champion have a duel. That'd be kind of cool. Kind of cool, a duel. Those are my only guesses as to why they never or just refuse to switch. I think it's not a priority. They're so busy with so many other things. Back during the war of 2012, I fried a Void versus Legion animation with Shidoli. It was pretty rough. We fried I really like the new square head style. Thanks, there. Yeah, I like drawing that way because I can just draw the neck right into the head pretty easily. It's pretty fun. Anyways, whenever I can find a way to draw that's simple and has good results, that's fun. Maybe I would let you use and have over some Gath or something perhaps I mean against the refuse, I don't know. Version use that version of Null or whatever reason. You're really developing a good library of shorts. Yeah, this is sort of my workout, my animation workout. Just doing these shorts. I was talking earlier about this is how I used to do it. This is how I used to do all my animations. They all started with I'll plug in my. We started on my iPad. But they all started with drawing. A drawing. Okay. But yeah. Like it did a drawing of Jade scaling the wall. And because the drawing makes me think of the animation, then I'll draw a short animation. And like when Tony is pulling off the head of something, blocking a giant demon's head. Like making these little drawings makes me think of an animation. And then that helps me to go make an animation. Dude, why does my shit always move like this? This is why some of my drawings I probably did way over. My drawing is vertical half against the box. Oh, this. Mandatory animation should be the piece and two pieces at the end of the videos. Yeah, I'll play that animation at the end of the streams from now on. Man, you're making me want to animate. It is pretty fun once you get into it and not worrying about the whole production of coloring and all that stuff, folks. If I thought about that process, I would want to animate. I'd be like, it's too much. But just doing the animation itself is fun. And it'll probably lead to me wanting to do full production animation later. But for now, just doing the animations. Try it, not fry it. Gotcha. That's why I was a little confused with that first comment. I was like, you fried? Is that new lingo? I don't understand. What about them and adult disguised? Nogath was just reading a book. Was just reading a boy before getting hit with a rock with no being a challenge for a second. You know what? The playground animation with Kid Meltonius and Kid Dage. I want to do more of those animations too, actually. Those were fun. Very simple, but fun animations. Yeah, we're going to go back to my animation roots. I'm going to make drawings that inspire me to animate, and then I'm going to go animate. Damn, was half this drawing locked during that stream? Or maybe I drew. I don't remember. What about them? As long as the Kami is still going strong, we'll get there. Yeah, I'm kind of looking at it that way, Ricker. I'm just looking at the number of Kamis that I'm doing, as opposed to, oh, is this going to be popular, or oh, is this going to track attention? I think the real secret is genuinely being interested in what you're doing, and that will catch fire eventually. And even if it's not a big audience that gets swept up in it, it'll be a dedicated audience over time, a large enough dedicated audience. They say you only need 1,000 true supporters to really get everything you need funding wise. Like if you have 1,000 people that support what you do, you're pretty much good. You're good. You don't need more than that. So that's definitely achievable. That's definitely achievable. But yeah, we're way over 2 hours now. So I'm going to go and get some rest. We have our official sign-off animation. Thank you guys for hanging out for another stream. I'll be on one more time this week tomorrow. Forgot what to do. If you guys want to try, if you guys want me to play through the game or draw or animate, figure it out. I figure out what's going on with my microphone again. I hate that. I hate those shitty sounding recordings. But whatever. Glad you can make it to Zaire. Vega. You guys have a good night. Until next time. Peace. Let me find this stuff. Peace and 2 pieces. Oh, he's doing it too fast. Peace and 2 pieces.